And I think the more interesting thing is to talk about just some of our best ideas for companies that are kind of tied to the app economy, whether it's iOS and the App Store there, or whether it's, over on Google, but companies that should be winners no matter what happens next with Apple and the App Store. Dimitri, you want to kick us off here?
Sure. Yeah. I really like Activision Blizzard right now. It's an exciting kind of story that's getting more into the mobile world in really interesting ways. Traditionally it's a very much a PC and gaming platform kind of company, but they actually, today I just double checked, they have two of the top 10 highest grossing games in the Apple iOS store right now, and that's Candy Crush and Call of Duty Mobile. And neither of these were really on investors' radar just a couple of years ago, when Activision bought King Digital, and then its recent push into sort of mobile and free-to-play gaming. What's exciting is that Activision seems to have hit on something really big with its approach, or Activision has hit on something really big with its sort of free-to-play approach. And what they're doing is using things like these free mobile games and sort of their battle royale mode that sort of expand the gaming universe for Call of Duty, and it's working really well. I was rereading some of the stats recently, and today gamers are spending 4 times more money within the Call of Duty ecosystem than they were in 2019, right before the pandemic. And that's even after it's kind of slowed down the past, last few months lately since the pandemic boost. So that approach has worked really well, and Activision is not just resting on that. They're going to use it with other brands, and they're doing that with their Diablo franchise this year. I think they're hoping to get a mobile game out for that, and they've got probably dozens of these other brands that they can use that same approach to expand the base and use that to sort of introduce people into the brand, and then continue to offer these premium games like the new Call of Duty that's coming out in November. That's going to launch to the biggest pool of sort of engaged Call of Duty gamers in history, and that can only help the stock.
It's funny too, right? You go back 5 or 6 years ago, Dimitri. I know this is a company you followed for a long time, but you go back then, and there was still a lot of question whether or not anybody could really make money consistently in mobile gaming, and the story has completely changed.
Yeah, and it's also really kind of interesting to see how much games have changed in terms of the profit, how they make money now in just the last 3 years, maybe. 3 years ago you would spend $60 on a Call of Duty game in November, and then you'd spend another $60 the next November, for example.
Right.
And so you had one release, you had one chance, you had 2 weeks. If it was a bad Christmas holiday, that could have tanked your whole earnings. But now it's this whole, software as a service thing where people are signing up for, monthly, subscription season, different seasons, and there's constant content. So one brand, one game lasts way longer than a year. And as you see, I haven't really double checked the list, but there's some games from 4 or 5 years ago in Activision's portfolio today that are still getting a whole lot of engagement and a whole lot of monetization. So it's amazing how much more valuable the games are right now.
Trevor, I like the direction you're going with this, with a company that frankly just didn't even enter into my mind when I thought of this idea for a topic. Well done.
So yeah, I'm going to go with Sea Limited. So Sea Limited actually started as a gaming company, Garena, and Garena's claim to fame is probably Free Fire, which is the top grossing mobile game in Southeast Asia, Latin America, and India right now. It is also let's see here, according to Sensor Tower, is number 3 on the list of top downloaded mobile games worldwide, and it is number 6 on the list of top grossing mobile games worldwide. So that very popular game, it's available through iOS and Android. And the reason I think this company would be okay, with or without its the App Store, is it does very well on Google Play, first of all, and the company also has 2 other segments. So it does use its game to sometimes offer advertisements to bring customers over to its e-commerce marketplace, which is Shopee. And then its e-commerce marketplace uses C Money, which is a fintech platform. So it's built an ecosystem. And so it's in the video game space, it's in the e-commerce space, it's in the digital payment space. And I think the company's other applications like Shopee and C-Money have gained such traction in Southeast Asia that even if things, went terribly wrong with the Apple App Store, they would still have a big enough user base. They still growing so quickly that the company would be fine.
Yeah, I'm going to cheat a little bit, and I'm actually just going to go with Netflix here, because I think one of the things that you see with companies when they get to a certain level of scale, all of a sudden their leverage situation changes, right? With a lot of these smaller companies, Apple has all the leverage, right? And if you're a small app developer, you love the facts that Apple's going to take care of collecting the money anyway, right? You can build a business based on having access to, hundreds of millions of people, right? And then Apple just takes care of all of the financial aspects of all of accounts payable, right? It just kind of comes in and they handle it. So you deal with, you take that negotiation. But when you get to a scale of somebody like Netflix, your leverage and the rates that you might necessarily be paying or sharing completely change, and you have the ability to have one-off agreements that might be different. So I think that scale is really powerful and really important, because Netflix doesn't need, the App Store, right? I mean, it's great to have, but it's at a point where its scale is big enough that doesn't matter. So I'll go with Netflix. And Dimitri, I'll just defer to the case you made earlier for this, why it's going to be a winning investment. All of the trends are in its favor. It has massive data. It's spent a ton of money already to develop content. It's monetizing that content. The data tells it what content to develop next. It's just in such a winning position, and the economic model and the cash flows that it generates are quite good.